Hi guys, welcome back. Sorry for the delay in getting videos, but we're finally getting, I'm finally getting, my head above water. So videos should start coming a little more regularly. I think this week you're probably only going to get two lectures. That's fine. That's going to put you on par with my normal 1103 class, but you can generally start expecting three lectures each week. One thing that I wanted to do really quick is some of you may have noticed I have posted what I call the ID list and your first homework assignment, and so I'd like to talk, a bit about you. So if you sign in on our D2L page, which I've got up here, and you'll see, my little announcement. What I'm going to do is, if you look in the syllabus, you'll see things about your homework assignments. Use that for when they're due, but I will try to remind you. For the original announcement, original thing, I said it was due next Thursday. That's actually Friday. I've checked that. Unfortunately, for my other 1103, it's actually due Thursday for them, and I apparently forgot to edit that out. Bear with me, some of those typos are going to happen. Just call me on it. I've got no problem fixing it. So for the homework, what I want you to do, if you come up here and you click the Content tab, and then you come down here to Homework Assignments, you'll see posted I've got Norton Mix #1 online. So if we go ahead and download and open that, yes, we want to open that. And give me a second. I think it's actually opening on my recording window. Yeah, give me just a second to drag that over here. I've got a dual monitor setup here. But if we drag this over, what you can see I'm asking you to do is read those Norton Mix assignments. In this case, I've chosen 3 readings that kind of get along with this concept of race, of slavery. If you look in the textbook, which, by the way, if you don't have your textbook, apparently the bookstore ran out. They've ordered an additional 300 copies. They're supposed to be in on Wednesday. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what I've been told. If you don't have it, let me know, and what I'll do is I can photocopy this, and we can, go that way. But if you turn to the readings from the Norton Mix history, you'll see, the first 3, this Otaba Kogano, narrative of the enslavement of a native of Africa, and that's actually going to be the second one. I've listed the page numbers, and I've done 2 others, Slave Laws in Virginia, and then Thomas Jefferson's On Race. What I would like you to do is, if you notice at the end of each one, there's a set of study questions. Hopefully that's coming out. But there's a set of study questions, and what I'd like you to do is in about 1 to 2 pages. Granted, probably going to be 2 to answer all this because it's not so much a response. But what I would like you to do is pick any 2 questions that you want from each of the readings, and then in a paragraph answer the question. So basically, prove to me, did you read the assignment? What did you learn from it? How does it fit in? Answering the question, how does it fit in with what we're talking about in lecture? Things like that. So the assignment should be about 1 to 2 pages double spaced, but that's total for each answer. I just want you to do one. I just want you to do one paragraph. You don't need outside sources. You don't need to cite anything. Just read the assignment and then answer the question. It should be pretty easy. And then what I'll do is this weekend I'll open up a Dropbox. Just submit that on Dropbox by midnight Friday, 1 week from today. And then I will try to get those back to you as soon as possible. What I'll probably do since this assignment, I'll probably put, just make some general comments, but I'm obviously not going to mark it up. That would probably take too much time. If you want to do well on these assignments, and granted, I know that each assignment's only worth 30 points, but they do add up. Answer all parts of it fully. Be as thorough and as specific as possible. Do not give me a one-line answer. 3 to 5 sentences for each one. If you do that, you will be just fine. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the concept of the ID list. And I did post this up. Normally I try to get it earlier. But what the IDs are, they're 2 things. One, they're a study guide, but also they're the terms that you're responsible to know for the first part of your exam. So if you come up here to content, you'll see Unit 1 PowerPoints. I'm actually going to rename the Unit 1 video lectures. I'm going to do a week-by-week video lectures to help you keep it organized. But all the Unit 1 PowerPoints and things like that are still going to be in the Unit 1 tab. So watch out for that. That change will probably happen this weekend. Click to the PowerPoints and you'll see ID list Unit 1. Right click here, well left click, and then download. I advise not opening it up inside Details little browser. Sometimes it gets stuck. So I would I would just do it how I just showed you. And what the ID list is these are terms that I think are critical to understanding. I don't know what understowing is. Understanding American history in the sense that, I mean, this semester you've got this big textbook coming at you. You've got all these lectures, all this stuff. It's tough to make sense out of it. But these, 30 terms per exam, these I think are the key terms that you need to know in order to be familiar with it. So, now understand, I expect you to know each term. But if you look, this is also a study guide for your essay. For instance, if I were to ask you, as one of your essay questions, compare and contrast the founding of, I don't know, Virginia, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania. So, that first lecture. What you're going to see here is, well, you need to know the founding of Roanoke. You need to know the colony of Virginia. You need to know what's going on in Massachusetts. You need to know kind of what's going on in Maryland. You need to know who the Puritans are. You need to know what an indentured servant is. How does the House of Burgesses play into things? How does King Philip's War, show Native American relations? And then what is the triangle trade? Which I realize is on the Unit 1 PowerPoint. I just stopped the slide. So here's the freebie for you. I'll give you the triangle trade ID here. So this is the freebie for you guys that are actually taking the time to watch this video. What I ask you to do with these IDs is identify the following themes, which you see, here up at the top. Who, when, where, why, what, and significance. So for each of these terms, what I want you to be able to identify is who's involved in the item. Give me a name, or give me people, give me nations, things like that. So the triangle trade, which is this idea that slaves from Africa have to come over to the American colonies to make goods. Those goods are then goods and raw materials are then taken to England, where they're refined, and then those manufactured goods are then taken back to Africa and exchanged for slaves. And I mean, it's how they justified slavery in the 16 and early 1700s. So in this case, who would reference slaves? It would reference the American colonies, specifically the South, and England. When, you could say, in this case, 1600s to 1700s. Now understand, one of the things that I ask in this course is, I understand that dates, historians, we love dates. We're brain damaged. I understand remembering every year for everything. I mean, we're covering in this course, we're going to try for approximately 400 years. It's not going to happen. So if you can remember the year, that's fantastic. If you can remember just the decade, that's fine enough with me. So in this case, you could say 1670s. Or you could tie it to something else you already know. So you could say, well, following Bacon's Rebellion in 1676, the triangle trade. Because that's the other thing. If you're not sure of the date, know the story. Know where these items fit in relation to each other. What leads to the item? What does the item lead to? Things like that. Convince me that you know what the item is, and I'll give you the points. So, dates are important and necessary for an A answer, but knowing the story, I feel, is more important. The next thing I ask you, when, so where does it take place? So in the case of the French and Indian War, you would need to say it takes place in the North American colonies. An A answer would say something like it spreads to all of Europe, things like that. We'll actually talk about that in the lecture that I'm going to do right after this video. Why? What leads to the event? Just give me a brief thing. What leads to the event? What? With what, I want to make sure that you actually know what the event is. And again, along with my thing about the homework assignments, don't do one-liners. You need to answer the questions as fully as possible. So in the case of these ID terms, for your exam, you've got 25 minutes. You'll have 5 of these to do. That's 5 minutes. So you need to be prepared. You're not going to have time to search, copy, any of that. My in-class students can do it, and they've done it just fine. You guys are going to have the ability to type, so I think you'll be fine. But if there's something we need to work in accommodation, whatever, let me know. But with what? Give me some details about the item. Make sure that I know that you know what it is. And then finally, the one that students often miss is significance. And significance is Why is this item so important that, in the case of the House of Burgess, 1619, why is it so important that almost 396 years later, I want you to know the term? What does it lead to that makes it so critical? So, again, talking about our freebie of the triangle trade. Why is it significant? It's used to justify slavery, and it shows how important slavery is in the early American colonies. So, understand, you need to do each of these things. Many of them you can take in, one sentence, and your answer should ideally be 3 to 5 sentences. So, what I encourage you to do, if you're worried about it, write this stuff out. I give this list to you now. We're one lecture in, so admittedly, you've got to go do some catching up with the first 9, though realistically, I've been kind of tardy on getting lectures. It's an online class. I'm going to bet most of you haven't actually watched the video yet. So, go through, and as you're taking notes, and that's the other thing, I tell my students in the traditional class, if you want to succeed, write 2 to 3 pages of notes for each lecture. I encourage you guys to do the same thing. Write write out those notes, take notes about what I say, do whatever you need to do to help get it in your mindset so that you're going to actually remember this. I know this is an online class, but I'm going to do, like I said, I'm doing my best to teach it exactly like I teach my normal traditional classes. That's, I think, about all I have for you right now. I just want to talk about that homework. It is due Friday, August 28th. These IDs, they're not homework. You don't have to do them now. But understand, of this list of 30, 10 are going to be on your first exam. You're going to be responsible for identifying the 5 you know best. So don't put these off. Start making lists now. At the very least, note cards or bullet pointed lists, write paragraphs, whatever you need to do. I understand it's a lot of stuff, but I'm also I purposely include so many to help you make sense of the fact. This is a lot of material. 1103, unfortunately, one of the things we got to do. Hi, this happened. All right, bye, we're moving on. So this hopefully should help you retain it in your mind. Like I said, I think that's about all. If you have questions, a few of you are already emailing me. Please do not hesitate to email me. Ask questions on the discussion boards, make study groups, whatever you need to do. But however I can help you, please let me know. My goal, as always, is to make sure you do well. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. This one should hopefully go live, immediately, and then within a couple of hours, once it's rendered, we can get Lecture 2, Origins of the American Revolution, good to go. All right, have a good Friday.